In your lighting and your planning, do you consciously, you must be, address addressing hazard through architecture, lighting, urban planning? And so many buildings now are very, very close apart as well. What would be the ideal distance between tall buildings? Thank you.
I was sorry, but I did not participate to the last fireworks on the Dubai. But the fire at Piere was not coming from the fireworks. It was coming before. So, I just want to remind you, when I present in New York what we made for the launch of Burj Khalifa with the fireworks. Initially, the promoter of the building, the constructor also, did not allow to make any fireworks for the launch. And I need really to insist a lot with the chairman of MR to make the fireworks, because we present the high security of that. And it's very important if you do something on the tower of particular on this level, you need to be sure what equipment you are using and how you can use it.
Yeah, you are wondering about the facade, and the tower is somehow fireproof. For the same, there's nothing that burns. Our towers, at least, all the facade is in pure aluminum, and there is no composite. There is nothing inside that is hazardous. There is no gas in all the building, except in the Four Seasons restaurants, in the Four Seasons restaurant kitchen, which are on the ground floor at the base of the tower. But on the upper floors, everything is fireproof. Even the material in the apartments will be fireproof. So then you have the fire protection, and we're using the highest standard in American and GCC codes, taking the best of all, and these have been enhanced further to provide a better firefighting system and fire prevention system. Now, on the distance between buildings, the tower stands alone, really stands alone, and you only have 4 bridesmaids on every side, which are maybe, I don't know the exact distance. I can measure on the master plan, but the highest is going to be 400 meter, 300 meter, 200, and 180 meters. So there's lots of space. The tower is standing alone. The older master plan, probably the one you saw on Denis' presentation, is one of the oldest versions of the master plan, that we had a forest of tower around the tower. Now, because of the transportation constraints, there is no public transport in the kingdom yet, and people use their cars. So we redesigned the master plan in such a way to reduce the density of towers around the tower, and we removed the forest of tower. We did a proper traffic impact study for the master plan.
And my question is regarding to the existing other new cities. And we understand there is a King Abdullah Economic City, and the city presented here, is it sort of a competing with the existing city, or is it sort of a kind of helping with each other?
There are other two cities, and they talk about cities. Our project is a private project. It's a completely private endeavor. It was the brainchild of His Royal Highness Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, and it's fully funded by private investors. King Abdullah Economic City is a strategic economic city as such. Our name is Economic City, but it has nothing to do with the economic part that the government is fully supporting. Jeddah, the King Abdullah Economic City is fully funded, and the strategy is completely different. There is a serious desertification of rural areas around the world. 70% of the population of the world lives in cities. And this is the case in Saudi Arabia. So really to create new nodes, new economic cities, to keep people where they are, and to bring people out of the biggest metropolis that have other, the quality of life is becoming really degrading. Okay, they try to develop the economic city, and the target is really today. It had a strategy now. Today is the target is they have the biggest port in the kingdom for merchandise. They have industry. They they have schooling, they have university. So it's going to be an economic city, a destination for certain types of services and fully supported by the government. Our project is a pure private endeavor. It's in the heart of the city. We call it Jeddah Economic City because the city of Jeddah is flat, like Los Angeles. It's flat. It's short buildings and horizontal. And our project is a serious urban offering. What can you call it? The urban offering of Jeddah. It's a city center. So, and the project is going to be phased. We're doing phase 1 today, which is probably as big as downtown Dubai, a little bit smaller. But by phase 2, phase 3 goes 3 times downtown Dubai.
Actually, that's a very interesting question. I myself has a question for Mounib, actually, just piggybacking on that question. I mean, we've seen a huge number of mega projects happening in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and obviously the Jeddah Economic City is one, and then obviously the tower itself. And if you move away from Jeddah, let's say Riyadh, for example, you have the King Abdullah Financial District, and it is also a huge cluster of tall buildings as well. I'm just wondering, how do these cities work together? Do they compete with each other, or do they actually, or have they been designed or developed with a particular clientele in mind, specific to a region?
Look, the government cities have designed for strategic purposes, and our city has been designed and developed, is being developed for commercial purposes. So it's got two completely different strategies. The government, what is a Riyadh? Is a Riyadh is 6 million people. Jeddah is 4 million. And not the Chinese standard is small, but in the Middle Eastern standard, my country is 4 million people. So the population of my country lives in Jeddah. Okay, so it's a completely different offering. King Abdullah Financial Center has been created as an idea to create a financial district in Riyadh, which is the capital of the country, to show strength. It's a sign of power. Jeddah, the King Abdullah Economic City, I said earlier, is a strategic that relates to fight desertification, to create anchors, create jobs for them. Our city is a pure commercial city. We live in Jeddah. Jeddah is horizontal. It's growing, it's 50 kilometers long by 10 kilometer width. Okay? So every morning, everybody goes on 3-4 roads to go from their home to their work, to their school, to their shopping, to do their needs. Okay? And in the evening, they all go back on the same roads. So by anchoring the new part of the city, where you have the highest purchasing power and where you have the most growth, okay? By anchoring it with a city center, we will invite people to have a different live and work experience in the city. Today, 70% of the population of Saudi Arabia is below 30 years old. These people need schooling, they need universities, they need houses, they need jobs, and their life relates on leisure and entertainment. And this is the development strategy of our project, is built, capitalizes on the real market needs and the needs of the people. It's worth mentioning that Jeddah as a city has a separate economy from the kingdom because it's not separate, but it does not rely on oil and gas like the other cities, because Jeddah primarily is the gateway to pilgrimage. So it has its economy from people coming every day and every year for the Umrah and Hajj pilgrimage. Second, Jeddah is a prime tourism destination. Saudis love to come to Jeddah for tourism because it has beautiful beaches, it is relaxed, it has a breeze. The temperature is maybe 7-8 degrees cooler than Dubai. So we don't see 40 degrees in summer, maybe a few days. So it's something like 35 at 40. So it's livable all year long. Third, Jeddah is like Dubai to Abu Dhabi. It's a business center. All the goods and services come to Jeddah, whereby Riyadh is the capital of the decision making, and it's the second industrial zone in the kingdom. For all of these reasons, the city is least dependent on oil and gas and its own economy.
Yes, that's really interesting. I've actually heard that recently in Riyadh, there's actually an oversupply of office buildings. So in a way that all these mega projects happening in Riyadh, maybe they've been kind of planted.
Yeah.
But whereas in Jeddah, it seems like it's well considered. It could, although it's such a tall tower, but it may be organically grown in a sense.
You know, in the tower we only have 23,000 square meters of offices. So the scale of the city is nothing. And there is no competition. There is no high-rise building that offers, you know, a destination. My office is at the Jeddah Tower, you know. Like, you know, it's an address. There is no addresses in Jeddah.
No.
In Riyadh, they have put on the market 1.2 million square meters in the financial district. So this has yet to be absorbed.
Exactly.
It will.
That's very interesting.
Are there any thoughts of integrating solar energy, wind turbines? Because the sheer height of the tower presents multiple opportunities.
So I didn't hear the integration of solar energy or sustainability in general.
Renewable energy technologies specifically. Yes.
I think this question applies to both Mounib and Denis as well. I think you both can answer that.
From our side, we are on phase 2 land. We are working with a number of companies from China and from Europe to see if we can do a photovoltaic farm to use this phase 2 land for the next 10, 15 years to generate electricity and to sell it to the grid and us buy again from the grid. So this is under consideration, immediate consideration. In the mall, Denis has the answer.
Of course, we use solar panels because in Saudi you have a lot of sun. So you have to. So we use so all the glass are mixed solar panels and transparent glasses. So it provides a big part of energy. We use also traditional system like the waterfalls that give you a transition between outside and inside. Inside it's cooled by technically cooled, and you have a natural cooling that make a transition between outside and inside.
Has there been consideration on the height of the tower itself? Because it is the tallest tower in the world, and that height...
The only place in the tower we have solar panel is on the canopy, which is a huge canopy, you know, on 3 sides. The canopy is going to have photovoltaics. On the facade of the tower, no, it's too dangerous and untested yet at these heights.
Actually, I have a question that for the, almost like a big park rooftop for the shopping mall. And I want to know that what kind of specific technique you use to achieve that kind of effect. Do you use like energy center or somehow, to minimize the mechanical equipment?
The energy that is used is traditional energy, but we are going to have solar panels to support the traditional energy in the mall. And this was the question?
Yeah, there's definitely there's a lot of cooling towers, as we know, the fan coils and the smoke exhaust systems. It's gonna be all over the roof, right? It's probably not going to look like as clean as what you show in the picture as a park.
Okay, first of all, the mall and the tower are going to be serviced by district cooling plants. So I think the roof is going to be green. It will cover all the electromechanical equipment in some places, and other places is going to be used for commercial purposes, especially places where you have views to the sea and views to the water body.
We're trying to think outside the box when it comes to the future of real estate, of developments. And one thing just drives my interest is to think about the habits if more moving towards online shopping and the next millennials and Gen Z and how they tend to do these shoppings. For the question for Denis, maybe more, do you feel there might be kind of any challenges or bumps in the ways when it comes to redefining malls and retailers for the coming future? Like from thinking about outside the box, from futuristic point of view.
I will share with you the result of a study that we just concluded recently about the socioeconomic habits of the young generation in Saudi Arabia and the families. Okay? But before I tell you the result, I'd like to tell you that real estate projects normally are a reaction to market needs. So when you design the development strategy at the master plan level and thereafter at project level, so when you do the brief of a project, it relates to what the market really needs commercially, and it has to accommodate the habits of people and to go further, in Saudi Arabia with the habits to accommodate men, women, families. Okay? The study concludes that 80 to 85% of the people outing is to go to a shopping mall or to a retail destination or to a shopping strip. It's a consumption society, like all the Arab world and like the emerging markets. It's a consumption society, and the target is always retail, leisure, and entertainment. So, and this is why I think the government of Saudi Arabia has just announced the Ministry of Leisure and Entertainment to promote this sector, to keep these young Saudis in Saudi Arabia instead of going every week, like I said earlier, to Dubai to spend their money. Okay? I think they're going to open up, hopefully, for cinema theaters. They just opened the theater last week. They brought the Illuminati from New York, and it was a success story. And one of the, it was well managed, so people were happy. So what do we do on a Thursday night, on a Friday? We have a show to see, we have this. So this is the strategy that is happening. And they announced they're bringing 6 flags to the kingdom now. They're talking about a number of leisure and entertainment. So the market is there, and there is a need. So I think our shopping mall is designed in such a way to cater largely for leisure, entertainment, and retail.
In a way, the click kind of scenario generation, it's so last year in a way. It's actually moving from click to brick. It's actually a reverse trend, actually. That's what I've heard.
If you do your homework, you study the market, you see what are the market needs, you can design larger projects. You don't just do it. I want to do this project like this. And architects help you with their experience, elsewhere.
I had the pleasure of working on King Abdul Economic City for the last 10 years. And so I've enjoyed the region for many years. But I think the question I just wanted to ask is that in the work with the Haramain Rail, it's become a complex issue of the diversity of tourism and how to get diversity of non-Saudi tourism within the city, and how the interconnection between the downtown of Jeddah and Mecca, Medina, and now you have the station at King Abdul Economic City, which I think all of them have a synergy that can work. But is there an opportunity or a thought of how the Jeddah Economic City takes advantage of this transport infrastructure?
Our location is north of Jeddah. We are around 5 minutes away from Jeddah International Airport. But more important, we are 5 minutes away from the main highway that takes you to Mecca and Medina. So if you want to go to Mecca and Medina from Jeddah, you spend 1 hour to get out of Jeddah. But the location of the project, just take an exchange, you go right, you're in Medina, in Mecca, you go left, you're in Jeddah. So this is in terms of access. Now, on the other side, there's 2 types of tourism. The religious tourism is one part, and that's its habits and protocol. And the regular tourism, which is the tourism, is opening up to the international standard in terms of leisure and entertainment. If you haven't been to Jeddah recently, I invite you to come see how things have changed. People are more relaxed in shopping mall. There is no more detention at the time when you have the mutawa and things like that. So the country is opening up in all aspects.
Especially Jeddah.
Especially Jeddah, yeah.
Piere, I've always wanted to ask you this question. Okay, what is the biggest challenge for you as a lighting designer to light up a building, such a high-profile building like this? Is it the client that poses as the biggest obstacle, or is it the architect who's usually sensitive to the way you interpret or reinterpret the building?
It's good. The architect is not here, so I prefer to say. No. With the client, it will be a very a good exchange, because of course we must not impose something. We must understand the tower and understand what they want to do. And the tower is inside the city, and around of that there is a lot of buildings. So we need to integrate this component. But in this case, with the client, I think that the chances are very good.
Okay. Now that's something. actually, I know Pierre's work and his partner, Claire, for a long time. They are the people who have invented video mapping, and they lit cities 10, 15 years ago. And every summer in Lyon, the city in Lyon, in France, you go for a week, 10 days to see, the light festival. And I had the chance when I was in my previous job to bring their technology to Beirut to light all the old district of the city with video mapping, and it's really impressive. It's an immersive feeling that you get. So lighting is something, it's different from sound and music. And
Absolutely. Piggyback on that point there, actually. I'm just thinking all these latest technologies you presented, these touch screens, these interactive skins on the glass or even on the buildings. It kind of led me to this incident a while ago back in Jakarta, I think. They had this gigantic billboard on a pedestrian walkway, elevated pedestrian walkway, and somehow some hackers managed to hack into the system.
Wow.
And uploaded some, let's say, inappropriate material that is shown prime time in a traffic jam.
Of course.
No, I'm just thinking that kind of security risk on buildings, especially when you're covering the whole city.
Think about it, huh?
Yeah, me as well. It's so important because, yes, somebody can hack and create the big instruments of lighting, signalization, and anything. Our system will be different. We don't want to connect with internet, this one. It will be a special system, intern system. And of course, we'll make some security inside. But of course, you need to update the system all the time because...
There you go. Any security experts here? There you go. There's your client there now. So.
I have a question. When I see such big cities that are created at once with so many buildings, when you start, it is magic. You have a brand new city. But aren't you afraid that after 30 years, you will have a huge city with plenty of old buildings? How will such a city live over the long term?
Okay, I think every city has its offering. Jeddah is, like I said earlier, is a flat city with very few architectural buildings, very few. So there is only the downtown Jeddah, which where they have the heritage, the old town, which is dilapidated now, and it has been classified by the UNESCO as a World Heritage. So they're revamping it completely. It has become a tourist destination. But the city as such, is growing like cities like in Los Angeles, places like that. It's just growing north. Our project is a brand new project. It is going to be developed over 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 years, I don't know. We're building phase 1. We're going to do the infrastructure. We're building the tower, which is the anchor, the shopping mall, and the water body. And we consider building a number of plug-in projects that will make the city grow over time. Ask me when we start phase 2. I tell you we're supposed to start phase 2 in 5 years' time. But between you and I don't know. Nobody knows. It's only market forces that will determine at what speed you will develop your city. I've developed downtown Beirut 25 years ago, which was supposed to be finished 5-6 years ago. We are 40% complete. Downtown Dubai, they started in 2000 or something, 2010, 2000, and they still have tens of plots of land empty, but the value is there. They created the value. The offering has succeeded. And after 10, 15, 20 years, some of the old buildings have to be regenerated, either to keep up with the quality that is around them, or, to stay alive.
Yes, and all the times are living systems. So if each building has its piece of land, you can imagine to change it in the time, you can imagine to demolish it, you can imagine that the city can evaluate. The key is that each building has its piece of land, not a system with a...
But the future is facility management. Historically in cities, most buildings had no maintenance, had normal maintenance. Today, there is a modern science which is called facility management that really preserves your building, keeps it intact as long as it lives, you know, in all aspects of all systems, quality of the material and everything.
What's the stage of the lighting design of this project in the concept design or the deep design? And my second question is, I want to know whether for China companies, is there any opportunity for us to participate in this lighting project?
I will answer the first part, you can answer the second part. Si les Chinois peuvent participer à project. On the first part, the detailed design of the lighting infrastructure of the tower is finished. The components that will be fitted in, we did not decide yet. It will take time for us to decide because technology is changing. But we have the full infrastructure now fully designed, under production, and it will be fitted. With respect to the opportunity, yes, we have Chinese company talking to us about offering, you know, these lighting solutions for the tower, because they're, I think, one of the best in the world in building these components.
Yes. In fact, when we decide what equipment we want to use, now we'll create a tender and to see if some company can answer perfectly or to give also some other solution to provide more new technology of ships, LED, no problem. So we accept everybody to.
Open.
We are very open for that.